Protests in Uasin Gishu, with hundreds of graduates affected and their parents taking to the streets to demand for refunds from the county government. So far, Mandago has recorded a statement with detectives from the Directorate of Criminal Investigations to aid in the probe. He has also been grilled by detectives from the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission for his role in the program, which was initiated during his tenure as governor.
Kuna maneno ya kubembelezana. Pesa ya ng'ombe ya mtu ama aliuza shamba, lazima arudishiwe pesa yake.
Away from that story, now to Mathe Wangara. Speculations after Granny is arrested with millions of cash and drugs. Now, the DCI Kenya Twitter page is a smorgasbord of petty crimes, hardcore arrests, dramatic chases, criminal reliefs, and most times comical anecdotes. Now, Kenyans in their hoarders throng the page's comment section every time an arrest or bust has been made, which is typically broadcasted with unbridled vigor and sometimes even glee. The page over the years has regaled the nation with tales of small-time chicken thieves in Karachuonyo, and then out of nowhere a major arrest of a Kilimani wash honcho. Whatever the crime, the Twitter account's administrator always ensures that they throw in a few literary devices, painting a picture so surreal it transports you to the scene of crime, and if properly written, you can even smell the bloody violence from your mobile device. And as Tuesday evening was coming to a close, the page struck again that with an arrest that reverberated across the internet, igniting the masses and flooding the timelines. This one did not involve teen delinquents sweeping an M-Pesa shop clean in Mlango Kubwa. It involved millions of shillings stuck in gunia sacks, a copious amount of dope paraphernalia, a notorious neighborhood, and the unmasking of a woman hitherto only probably spoken of in hushed tones. Now, Kenyans read up almost in awe as the DCI narrated how they recovered Kenyan shillings 13 million in an anti-narcotics operation. As the story went on, the juice started dripping as Kenyans saw probably for the first time ever at the face of a woman who might have birthed the infamous name Kwamathe Wangara. In fact, Kwamathe Wangara is such a hallowed place, it's literally searchable on Google Maps, and unlike hundreds of other spots called Kwamathe, especially in informal settlements, the Ngara Mathe appears to wield more power, control a larger swath of the population, have more widespread influence, and possess longer tentacles with which she has managed to single-handedly ring the law and claw off her rivals. An hour after the story hit Twitter, memes started flying. Here is a piece of the story of Mathe Wangara. Away from that story, now to another story here of a compensation or subsidy. Now setting the record straight, President William Ruto has said the government was not reintroducing fuel subsidies. Quote, let me tell the country that we will not go back to subsidies of any nature that distort things or cause us a lot of unnecessary leakage, President Ruto said on August 16th, 2023 during his address at the ongoing devolution conference in Eldoret. Now, he was responding to a story by The Nation in which it reported the latest development on fuel pricing. The Nation Media Group stands by its story titled, "It's a Compensation Not Subsidy," state says on fuel prices, which appeared in the Daily Nation on August 16th. Now, the story began by capturing the position of the government that the intervention undertaken in the August 14th fuel price review is a compensation and not subsidy, with oil market firms earmarked to receive shillings 7.33 per litre of super petrol, shillings 3.59 per litre of diesel, and shillings 5.74 per litre of kerosene. The Nation Media Group reached out to the Energy and Petroleum Regulatory Authority, Director General David Kipto, with 4 questions. One which was, at what point in the program that was retired in the May 14th, 2023 pump price review did the country switch from a stabilization to a subsidy? The Director General's response to the question was, the stipulation outlined in the Petroleum Development Order of 2020 pertains to the stabilization of petroleum pump prices. This provision was implemented in the release that occurred yesterday, even as the government continues to shell itself that it is in no way putting up subsidies to cushion users or consumers of the fuel in the country. And away from that, now to another story here, as President Ruto says the remaining county functions are to be transferred. President William Ruto now says the national government is ready to finalize the handover of devolved services that are yet to be transferred to county governments. The president also committed to ensuring timely disbursement to counties as the devolved system of government begins its second decade.
For the first time in 10 years, we got our July disbursements for this financial year that we've started 2023-2024 on time. Thank you very much. Devolution has left clear footprints across our nation. Each of the 47 regions has an outstanding story to tell on how devolution has occasioned a positive and impactful realignment of its development priorities and address unique needs of residents.
That even if devolution is, by law, a two-tier affair, it should, in practice, reach the lowest and smallest possible unit of political organization. Under the principle of subsidiarity, the ward must in time become a central driver of bottom-up economic transformation. We made a commitment that we are going to analyze and frame all the remaining functions that are still being discharged by national government and transfer them to the counties. I am very happy that between the national government and the committee that is responsible for that job and the other stakeholders, We have finally agreed on the functions that should be transferred. An analysis is going on the funding that will accompany the transfer of those functions. And I am told that in the next 60 days, we should be able to transfer all the remaining functions to our counties. Any person implicated in the loss of public funds, whether in the national or devolved government, must encounter the punitive consequences of their action in full.
Their community obligations, Your Excellency, as you well know, may not be sufficiently captured in their job descriptions. Yet their remunerations has been reduced over the year. Your Excellency, you can imagine those who are county assembly members in the previous and ran again to be re-elected, only to come and find that their terms had been reduced. I know, Your Excellency, that you're wise, you're kind, you're long-sighted, visionary. Your resolve is all that is required.
We need our money to serve people. Sisi ndo tunaumia. MCA ndo first casualty na nitarudia bwana waangalie mambo ya MCAs. Tusikuja hapa kufurahishana, tutakuja hapa kuoneshana meno.
The balance is between increasing the salaries of those of us who have jobs or creating opportunities for the 4 or 5 million who do not have a job. That is the conversation we must.
From the devolution conference, and now to MPs approve formation of the National Dialogue Team. The National Assembly has approved the motion pushing for the establishment of the National Dialogue Committee and for its recognition in law. Members of Parliament from across the political divide agreed that it was time for reason to prevail. Both Majority Leader Kimani Ichung'wah and his minority counterpart Opiyo Wandayi firmly stated that the handshake was not part of the equation. The motion is now set to be transmitted to the Senate for a concurrence.
We've not been able even to benefit from the equalization fund. So we are sinking deeper as other Kenyans are enjoying the fruits of devolution. So we are saying that let us create the counties for the marginalized. If anybody for some reason thinks that the matter of counties is not viable, give me another option. But those of us who have found ourselves in counties where we are more marginalized than we were in the national administration, so we believe that something has to be done. And that is why we went to Bomas, we have been agitating quietly, but when it was decided that let there be dialogue, and so we decided then that let us be part and parcel of that dialogue.
And just to give you more context about that last clip, MPs and 9 MPs demand for creation of new counties as the country marks 10 years into devolution. There has been mixed feelings on the successes and shortcomings of the devolved units. Now, while a majority acknowledge that devolution has changed the face of the country, there are, however, some regions that still feel marginalized and underdeveloped. And away from that, we're gonna take a break. When we come back with what is making headlines in the dailies. Keep it science, and be back after the break.